Hello friends, so today we'd like to learn about HTML syntax. So last time we were learning about what is HTML and how it came to be and the versions of HTML up to HTML5, which we're going to be learning as time goes by. So at this particular moment we would like to learn about the HTML syntax, right? So without further ado, let us get started. Okay, it is of much significance for us to understand what is syntax, by the way. So for instance, I would like to give you a very quick example. We can take, for example, English as a language. So in order for a paragraph or for a sentence to be considered correct, it must follow the rules, for example, grammatical rules, right? So this language has specific rules, right? Especially on how to write it, how to speak that language, right? How to write grammatically correct sentences. So these are some of the rules, right, or principles that are within that particular language in order for it to work as it is today. So this scenario is similar to programming languages or markup languages. In this case, we're learning about HTML as hypertext markup language. So syntax actually, it refers to writing the rules of writing statements or expressions, right, of a particular language that can be understood by the browser or the computer in itself, right? So for instance, we can talk of this example. This is HTML heading, right? Heading 1, which is the big heading, right? So this is how you create headings in HTML5 or in HTML, right? So this is the syntax, the tag, the content, and the closing tag. Then also we can talk of this, right? Syntax for JavaScript, right? We have this opening tag and closing tag and the content and attributes, etc. So you're going to be learning about tags and attributes and how these actually work. Then this is the syntax for PHP, right? You open this tag, then you close it like that. So these are some of the examples of syntax, right, when it comes to programming. So now let us move on to some of the parts, right, of HTML syntax that you have to understand. So you have to understand tags, you have to understand elements, you have to understand attributes, right? So these three things are very important for you to understand so that it will be easier for you to use this particular markup language. So when you're talking about tags, we're actually referring to opening and closing greater than or lesser than symbols used to indicate the start and ending of HTML elements. Don't worry, we're going to be learning about HTML elements in a bit. So between these symbols, we have a word or a letter between them, which indicates the name of that particular tag, right? For instance, here is an example, right? The opening and the closing tag. Then in between these greater than or lesser than sign, we have P, which indicates paragraph. P stands for paragraph. In the last example, we have seen the H1, which represents heading 1. So this P actually is the name of the tag. So this tag is for the paragraph. So we have the opening tag and the closing tag, right? And the closing tag actually, it has the slash before the name of the tag. Then we have closed the tag. That's how the HTML tags works in when it comes to HTML syntax, right? It's a hope that this has been understood. Then also let us move on to look at attributes. So when I'm talking about attributes, right, just referring to the characteristics or additional information concerning HTML element, right, in itself. So it gives us additional information about that particular HTML element, for example, styles, or maybe there will be specifications of width of that element, how it must be displayed on the browser, the width right, and the height of that particular element. And also the attributes, it is of much significance for you to understand that they are placed, right, inside the start tag, right. And also these attributes actually are made of name and value pairs, right, with the name of that attribute and the value, right, and that value actually is inside the quotation marks, either single or double. Then also some of the HTML elements, right, attributes are required, right. For example, we can talk of image tag that you're going to be learning as time goes by in the next tutorials. So this HTML, this tag is an image tag and is a self-closing tag, right. You have to understand that there are tags that actually close themselves. For example, this is a single tag and it closes itself, so are self-closing tags, and attributes now are required in this particular case when you're writing this particular tag. So to my right, we see a very good example, right, the paragraph. You have seen this in the last example. This is our paragraph. So this is the attribute here, right. You see this is the attribute. So the name is the style. We want to style the element. For example, we want to give it the color red, so the name of the attribute is style. Then inside the quotes, and these are single quotes, we specify the color we want the element to have. So with the name, and this is the value. So this is an example of HTML attributes and how they are placed, especially these attributes are placed inside the starting tag, right. So it is my hope that when it comes to attributes you have understood. So now let us move on to HTML elements. So technically HTML elements, it refers now, it combines all what we've been learning. So it refers to a combination of start and end tags, HTML tags, right, and with attributes and with content, right. Here we've got a bit of mistake. So it's a combination of start and end tags. We have attributes and we have content. That combination makes an element. So an HTML element is a complete thing. It has the tags, it has the attributes, and it has the content. Sometimes there may be no attributes, but it has the tags and the content, right. That makes it an element or an HTML part, right, or element. So looking at this example, you see this is the full element, right. We have the paragraph, these tags, the starting tag and the ending tag, right. Then we have the attribute, which is the style we've specified our element to have, for example, color red. And after that we have the content, right. So this is now the HTML element, right. So don't be confused. So once you've understood what is a tag, what is an attribute, and what is an HTML element, you're good to go to understand this language, because it is simple and understandable. So now let us see the real world example of HTML syntax, right. So this is a picture I've taken from the VS Code. So this is the code in Visual Studio Code software that we are going to be using to write our code. So this is a very good example. Don't worry about what you are seeing here, because I'm going to explain this boilerplate for you. So now we have this H1 tag I've been talking about. We have the opening tag and the closing tag, and this is the content, and also the paragraph with the style color red, and this is the content we have. And also we have the image tag, right, and these attributes, this source attributes, src, which represents where the source of the image, where the image is located. Then alternative, in case maybe the image is not found, then this text is displayed, right. And you see this, it closes itself, is self-closing tag, right, but others, they are they have the opening tag and the closing tag. So this is the real example when it comes to HTML syntax, which is fantastic and understandable. It is my hope that this has been understood. So thank you so much for watching.